we are now going to hear from Armando Stellato from the University of Rome Tor Vergata about ShowVoc, a knowledge-sharing platform for the EU. So please do tell us all about that, Armando.
Hi everybody, do you see the screen?
We can hear you, Armando. We cannot see you yet, but there you are. Yes, and we can see your slides. So there you go. The floor is yours.
Great. So thanks everybody for being here. I'm going to show ShowVoc, sorry, pun not intended, a knowledge sharing platform for the European Union. So ShowVoc was initially developed in the context of PMKI, a public multilingual knowledge infrastructure that was born as a ISA Square funded project with the aim of realizing a data-centric portal in the European Union for focusing on terminological and linguistic content. However, the project drifted a little in realizing an open source and free to use that can be downloaded and installed by anybody platform for publication of this kind of resources. So in a sense, it could be seen as a sort of read-only version of Workbench for those of you who know the quite common now the collaborative environment for editing ontologies, thesauri, and lexicons. So, but ShowVoc is not just a Workbench for naive users or with a streamlined interface just for data consumption. Actually, it has a lot of features of its own. So, like I said before, the visualization is meant to be for consumption. So streamlined, simpler, and easy for the final users, let's say, to consume the data. At the same time, there are exploratory and analytical interfaces like a Sparkle interface, the possibility to have several ways to search the content, several graph view that offer different perspectives on the data, and a mappings page. The system is open to communities in the sense that it's possible also for contributors to provide new content to the system, so that it obviously needs to be vetted and then published in the system. There is also support to publication that is very typical of this platform with respect to Workbench, in the sense that it can be embedded into other portals. It supports HTTP differentiation, so it avoids all the mess with putting together the machinery for supporting, HTTP differentiation, content negotiation, etc. For data publication. It can take care of these aspects, and a metadata page with overall dataset description and associated downloads. So this is how you can see the page of ShowVoc, the landing page. This part can be customized. You can change. You can submit the name of your project or your portal, and it will be shown like welcome to this portal. And we just in a deadline telling that this portal is supported by ShowVoc. And then there is the white part in the middle of the page that can be completely customized by adding all the content that you want. This is the list of data sets. There are just a few here, but it can be as long as you need. Where you can see all the data sets, they are categorized according to the semantic model that is being adopted, the lexicalization model that is being used by the data sets, and there are also possibility to filter the data sets by looking for the name or by specifying the kind of data sets that you want to look for, etc., or the languages that are within the data sets. This is a similar page, but it's internal. This is the administrator dashboard. Here you can again see all the datasets that are being hosted here, but there are additional features for loading data or resetting information, resetting the indexes, or even for going through the publication workflow, where you can see as a dataset is being provided, it goes into vetting, and then finally goes for final publication and being open to the public. This is the page for contributors. So it is possible to submit a new dataset. But this is a feature that can be enabled or disabled in the system. If it's enabled, any user, it doesn't need to be inside the system or logged in, just any user can log in, present themselves, and then introduce a new resource to show. There can be three kinds of contribution: just metadata about some resources that is already on the web as a linked open dataset. And so just to inform ShowVoc that that resource is available and can be accessed and be shown within ShowVoc, or to ingest the resource within ShowVoc, or finally, even for resources which are still not in RDF, this can be ingested, converted, and possibly also edited in a sandbox version, a sandbox copy of Workbench associated to this ShowVoc instance. This is the browsing system. You can see, for those familiar with Workbench, the interface, like I mentioned before, is streamlined. There are no buttons, not complex options, just everything for consumption. But don't be fooled by that. You can always click on any resource. For example, these preferred labels are not just text. They are resources themselves, which contain metadata, lexical relations, etc. You can always inspect everything. There is no first-class citizens in ShowVoc. Anything that is in RDF can be inspected in any detail. There are also filters for the languages. This can be applied for the labels that you want, the lexicalizations that you want to see, and for the rendering of the resources. For example, the tree on the left is filtered only to show the resources in English. But when you open a resource, then you can see the set of languages that you have selected. This is one of the many graph view available. This is called the data view, in the sense that the arcs there are really the predicates of the RDF triples that connect the various elements. You can see here various concepts that are in the turquoise color that are bound to the various schemes, those in the greenish color. And there are other views, such as a vowel-like view, for those familiar with the vowel tool. It's a modeling perspective on our ontologies. And there is also a UML detailed class diagram showing all the details of the resources that can be also useful for creating diagrams for documentation. This is the alignment view. This is one of the perspective of ShowVoc over datasets as a whole. What you see here is not single links between various resources in between the various datasets, but each node is a dataset itself, and the arcs are the link sets. The number within each arc represents the number of links that are available between the two linked datasets. This is another perspective on the same content. You can see a tree exploration on the left of the graph that you showed before, and on the right you are the detailed mapping view that can be also filtered, searched, etc. Then there are various levels of search. One is the possibility to simply do a free text search over the dataset. You can get results, and then you can inspect them and see them on the tree and on the details view. There is also an advanced search where, with no knowledge of Sparkle or any other formal language, you can simply put as many constraints as you want, like ingoing links, outgoing links, membership of a resource to a SCOS concept, concept scheme, etc. And it's still interwoven with a free text search. And finally, the uttermost level of customization. Here, this kind of search foresees two figures. One is experts in RDF that will create a Sparkle query that creates the constraints that you want to put on any kind of search with any detail that you want, because it's written in Sparkle. But then this will be stored and hidden to the user. So you will just have the description, human readable description of the custom search, and then it will be again interwoven with a normal free text search plus the additional constraints imposed by Sparkle. This is a global search. This search is based on an index that is working over all the concepts there, over all the datasets. It's homogenizing different lexical representations of the resources. The same kind of index is powering also a translation interface that is a kind of, authoritative translation, in the sense that it's based on the same resources, and it's currently based on multilingual resources. So if you have conceptual indexes with multilingual representation, this can be used for translation. In the future, we will also exploit mappings for showing these translations. This is the metadata view, where you can see quality information about the resource, statistical information about resource, and in detail about the lexical asset of a resource with the number of lexicalizations and the average number of synonyms per each concept, etc. And then a download page that can be populated both by data dumped on this same page from ShowVoc itself, or with other data that you can upload independently. This is also another perspective on metadata, but this is internal to ShowVoc, and it's used by ShowVoc itself for showing data, because ShowVoc is not only a browser for the resource it hosts, but it's also a linked open dataset browser, in the sense that it can go on the web, find the content, and show it seamlessly on the same interface that you are used to for the local resources. The metadata is used to improve the performance and get the best of the information that you can look on the web for the resource you are looking for. Finally, this is the page for configuring the HTTP resolution, like I said, ShowVoc will take care of everything, like the content negotiation, so for showing data for those clients requiring data, or the web page itself for ShowVoc for those humans connected to a web browser that want to see a description of the resource that is human readable. There are some, ShowVoc is relatively new, but there are already some notable instances around there. One is hosted at the publication office, and just to reconnect with the presentation of Willem and Max, there is a vocabulary portal, the EU vocabularies, and if you see the advanced view part, this is embedding ShowVoc to show the browsing of the various resources. FIO is also, in particular, the statistical department is adopting ShowVoc for showing the various thesauri adopted for statistical dimensions in data cubes. Katerina and Carola will show something about this in the next presentation. And the LifeWatch Consortium, that is a big consortium about biodiversity, is extensively using both Workbench and ShowVoc for data editing and publication. So that's everything. And if you have any questions, meanwhile, I'm showing you the contacts for ShowVoc, the web page, and the mailing list that you can join to join the community, ask questions, and read what everybody has to say. Thanks, everybody, for
Thank you very much. Thank you, Armando. Yes, we have a couple of questions come in. First of all, if I install ShowVoc on my server and load some data on it, will the data be collected by the other instances?
You mean other instances of other ShowVoc?
Yeah.
It is possible. I mean, there are various possibilities. For example, with Workbench, you can deploy on the various instances of ShowVoc, or ShowVoc can know of other instances of data that is available on other instances of ShowVoc. Because like I said, it's a linked open dataset browser. So you can even connect to data that is outside and show it within the interface of a specific instance.
Okay. Is a translate function already in a public release?
I think it's going to be really, I mean, there is already the translation API, but the interface for the translation will be available in the forthcoming new release. Just wait no more than 1 month, probably less.
Okay. In the search, is it possible to search with several words that must all be present? For example, food producer.
Mm-hmm. Oh, sorry, what was it?
Is it possible to search for several words that must all be present?
Well, yes, actually, what you can do, I mean, we don't have a search for separated words, but you can put complex terms. Okay. Like if your term is made of more words, then you can do that. Actually, there is also an option that would allow to get more of the words. So yes, the answer is yes.
Does it support a dataset description with DCAT?
Yes, actually, we have been working also we've been in contact with the DCAT3 working group, and what I showed before, the MDR is a composition of various metadata standards. One is Void, one is Lime, and an important one is DCAT3. We gave a look at that on DCAT3 because just this third version incorporated a lot of features that we were interested in too. And so without using custom terms that we previously used in the MDR, we were able to join this together, these ontologies, to get the best using available standards instead of making one another metadata ontology.
And then finally, a question more overarching. Is ShowVoc a kind of publication module of Workbench?
Yeah, in a sense, you can say that. I mean, it can be used independently of Workbench, but there are obviously features that we created specifically from Workbench for ShowVoc and the contrary. You can have a deployment function from Workbench to ShowVoc, as much as there are for other tools and platforms from Workbench. And there is also another way. Workbench has the definition of what is a dataset portal, and it can connect to various instances, like, for example, the linked open vocabularies, the linked open data cloud, and one of these linked data portals is ShowVoc itself. Obviously, since ShowVoc is not a centralized instance, you have the possibility to configure Workbench for connecting to any specific instance that you want.
Well, thank you, Armando. Thank you so much for getting through all of that for us and answering all those questions.